Hello, I'm Samdra Powder, and in this presentation, I will provide some insight into how increasingly recently collaborating with families and communities has been recognized as vital when considering the learning and development of young children in early childhood education and care settings. So, they are vital for creating an inclusive, supportive, holistic atmosphere for children's growth and the fulfillment of their development needs. Families and communities joining in early childhood education care settings at schools support children's learning and development and strengthen the connection between home, school, and community, enhancing children's sense of belonging and well-being. So, through this essay, we will explore how such partnerships help to include, enhance, and development young children. This will consider key elements and benefits of active family and community involvement in early childhood education care context, including theory and practice. In addition, it will make recommendations regarding the ways in which effective partnerships can be established, fostered, and sustained in the Australian early childhood service context. This will draw on an engagement with relevant literature as well as policy frameworks. When educators know why it matters to collaborate with families and other services, they can be better support children and strengthen the family community early childhood education care service link. Next slide is collaborative partnerships in early childhood education care. So collaboration between households, schools and communities helps child learning and well-being under early childhood education and care. Families need to engage with educators to promote positive outcomes. Partnerships among families, schools and community can take many forms. Such partnerships grow out of mutual respect, open communication and shared goals. A partnership supports children's learning and development. In an early childhood education care setting, family members are the first teacher of the children. When parents and caregivers work with educators, they inform educators about the children's needs, interests, and home environments, enabling educators to cater learning experiences to meet individual needs. When families and educators communicate regularly, children benefit in many ways, especially socially, emotionally, and cognitively, while reinforcing classroom learning and development. Additionally, when early childhood education care environments include the community, it expands considerable resources and experiences that are made available to children. Local organizations, service providers, and community members could be invited to contribute their expertise to the curriculum to help enrich it. Through trips to the community, cultural celebrations, as well as guest speakers, resources from the community can improve children's understanding of the world as well as their sense of belonging to the wider world. A child's family is very important in their learning and enhancing their abilities. A strong relationship with the community and family help the children achieve better academic scores. In addition, it also helps the children socially and emotionally. By forming these links, children will have a feeling of belonging, helping them to feel valued in all areas. It is vital for families and educational providers to work together in early childhood education care. They ensure that children's learning is supported both at home and in community, thus making them actively participate in their own development. The next one is establishing and maintaining partnerships. So, creating and sustaining positive working partnerships with families and communities is essential to support young children's learning and development in early childhood education and care settings. Benefits are not only factors important to a sustainable partnerships, but also effort and formulation. Here are some great tips to form successful partnerships. The first one is building trust and open communications. So, trust is the foundation of any strong partnerships. To gain families' trust, educator must communicate transparently and respectfully, and on an ongoing basis. Regular newsletter meeting of teachers and parents and an informal chat helps create a welcoming environment. When teachers communicate with families on a regular basis, they can keep families updated on their child's progress as well as any challenges or opportunities. And the next one is engaging families in decision making. It is key families are involved in process and made to feel valued to have a strong partnerships. When families are invited to contribute to curriculum planning, learning goals, and classroom experiences, they feel more invested in the education of their child. When families are involved in decisions, they are more likely to support the partnerships and provide input that helps to inform practice. And the next one is cultural sensitive and inclusivity. Services from early childhood education care must make sure that they are responsive to culture so that engaging with families become easier. When schools understand and respect their cultural values, traditions, and communication style, then it fosters inclusion in schools and all families become a part of the mainstream. Teacher can attend professional development opportunities on diversity or learn about the needs of the families they serve to improve their cultural proficiency. Next is collaborating with the broader community. Educators should seek optimal opportunities for professional partnerships, including with a broader array of community organizations, local services, and cultural institutions. This could be accomplishing guest speakers, field trips, or partnerships with health service providers, libraries, or environmental groups. There are community resources that help children learn about real world things outside their classroom. And the next one is ongoing reflection and adaptation. Success partnerships should be reflected continuously. Educators should regularly check how effective communication and collaboration happen with families and community members. This reflective approach allows educators to identify areas of improvement and adjust their practices to better meet the needs of the children and families they serve. Using the strategies described in this document, early childhood education care services can foster strong, sustainable partnerships that benefits children. The selected text describe the essential attributes of the partnerships among the parties to the agreement. And the next slide is policy framework or policy articulation. The early year learning framework and national quality frameworks provide strong support within the early childhood education and care context for the articulation of the policy on collaborative partnerships with families and communities. The NQF in Australia sets the quality standard for education and care services and meets the developmental, health, safety, and well-being needs of the children. The recognition of the family as the first educator of the child is a central tenet of this framework implementation. Involvement in the learning process influences educational outcomes positively on the child. Under the NQF, educators work in partnership with families to share an understanding of the children's learning needs so that services are responsive to the unique backgrounds, experiences, and cultural context of each child. In the same way, the earlier learning framework B2O builds on this and states explicitly that early childhood education care services must create and sustain collaborative relationships with families and communities. The word of the week defines collaborative partnerships which supports children's learning. Similarly, partnerships acknowledges that a child's experience at home and in the community influence their learning. Let's start with earlier learning framework B2O. In short, what does the earlier learning framework stand for? Earlier learning framework aims to encourage educators to pay more attention to families and families' values. More information, try to visit the website. This partnerships creates an environment where children feel at home and their unique learning experiences are supported at home and in the community. One of the important policies of this collaboration is that it should be mutual. In other words, both families and educators should contribute to the children's learning. Teachers should give families clear information about their child is going as well as get feedback on what their child's goals and dreams are. Furthermore, the policy acknowledges the role of communities in assisting children's development through programs and partnerships that provide additional learning activities, resources, and opportunities. The NQF in early year learning framework will ensure that collaborative practices become an services, and optimizing children's learning when incorporated into policies. The next slide is benefit of partnerships. The benefits of collaborative partnerships in early childhood education and care are significant for children's holistic development. When families, educators, and communities work together, children experience a stronger sense of belonging, which directly support their inclusion and well-being. These partnerships enrich children's learning by connecting classroom experiences with their home and community, ensuring continuity and consistency. Research shows that collaboration leads to improved academic performance as well as better social and emotional outcomes because children feel supported across multiple environments. Moreover, community involvement provides children access to a broader resources such as cultural experiences, health services, and real-world learning opportunities, which deepen their understanding of the world. Ultimately, strong partnerships create a network of support around each child, helping them thrive both inside and outside of the classroom. And the last one is conclusion. To sum it up, it is essential to work together as partners with families and communities to support young children's inclusion, learning, and development in early childhood education and care. As shown throughout the essay, partnerships enhance children's educational experience and furthermore take a holistic approach towards their improvement. When families and communities engage with early childhood education care services, they provide valuable insights, cultural knowledge, and resources that improve their learning environment and enhance children's sense of belonging. The NQF in Earlier Learning Framework V2O provide a clear and supportive policy framework that encourages and supports establishing and maintaining these partnerships. When teachers apply these frameworks to the practices, they can meet children's individual differences in schools as well as outside the community. When teacher and parents see each other as equal partners, this will develop a sense of common belonging towards the education of the child. As early childhood education care changes, educators should always be committed to strengthening collaborative partnerships. You must keep thinking, engaging, and adapting culturally. We make everyday child's learning possible with the help of family educators and community members. So, in this way, I have finished my presentation. Thank you.